I'm Van Sebastian here with my co-host S.A. Baz Collins for this week's Written on the Edge, Season 8, Episode 36, Last Week This Morning. It's just Baz and I sharing headlines and culture news that have caught our attention during the week of August 14 to 20, plus nominating our wins for the week. Good morning, Baz.
Morning. Should I do it now?
All right, well, yeah, do it now.
Okay. Donnie got RICO'd. Yes, he's indicted. Along with 18 goons. Girl, we're excited.
Very nice. Much better than mine, by the way. Much better than mine.
It came to me while I was watching. I'm like, hey, that could go to Copacabana. Rico, Rico Rama.
Uh-huh. Well, so folks, our list this week is probably pretty short because of all of the news involving the Orange Menace.
Foreign
So there was
agent
less
that
in
was
the
president.
Queerverse. Yeah. So there's less in the Queerverse for me to report on that I was able to discover because, of course, all the outlets are covering the 4 or 7, if you take the Orange Menace's latest post, indictment court cases that are after him.
Yeah, Arizona's now involved.
I know. All right, so in international news, in South London, 2 men were stabbed outside an LGBTQ plus bar over the weekend. Police are investigating it as a homophobic attack, and while the USA is not a shining example of inclusion and diversity, the British government did release a report last year indicating that hate crimes based on sexual orientation had increased by 49% in England and Wales. So I know we got it bad at home, but just kind of be aware that it's bad everywhere right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that report came from sky.com. We will post all of the links to my sources with this episode. From NBCnews.com, in Berlin, a 63-year-old man was arrested on charges of throwing a burning object at the city's memorial to homosexuals persecuted under Nazism.
Oh,
The
yeah,
same
I
man
saw
is under
that.
suspicion. Yeah, he's under suspicion for arson attacks to a book box and a lesbian bar as well. What the hell, people? What the hell?
Society's
Interestingly,
losing its ever-loving mind.
it is. I'm like, I even have a new prop to go with this. I should just wear this every day.
I know you should. Yeah. Maybe we should have called the show that.
Yeah. WTF.
Rotes, what the fuckery?
Although we have to keep the swear out of it if we're going to post it to legit sources, but yes. In Mason City, Iowa, the school district didn't have time to read all the books in libraries in order to comply with the Republican-backed book censorship law, so they turned to ChatGPT. The problem was the AI wasn't really up to the task, and even after an extensive list of textual filters, books like Alice Walker's The Color Purple, Margaret Atwood's The Handmaid's Tale, Toni Morrison's Beloved, and Buzz Bissinger's Friday Night Lights were all included in the to censor list. What the? Why? Ugh.
Oh, we lost
In New Hampshire?
She got down after that one.
I don't blame her. And again, that just goes to my point that AI cannot replace human beings. Also, censorship laws are so 100 years old. What the? In New Hampshire, a bipartisan effort to do the right thing finally went through. Representative Sean Filialt, who campaigned on banning the so-called gay panic defense, introduced a bill to do just that. And though he had quit the Democratic Party over what he said was insufficient support for his efforts to get the measure passed, this first-term representative was gratified to see his efforts come to fruition on Tuesday when Republican Governor Chris Sununu signed into law House Bill 315. The measure is aimed at barring homicide defendants from claiming temporary insanity because of an unwanted same-sexual advance. Bravo. From News Nation Now, the global LGBTQ plus support group It Gets Better announced it is leaving X, formerly known as Twitter, because the platform is no longer a safe space for their work. Under Musk, Twitter/X has been allowing an increase in hateful comments. From Sacramento Bee, a California lawmaker has introduced a resolution calling for a criminal investigation into Florida Governor Ron DeSantis for his role in sending dozens of Latin American migrants to Sacramento earlier this summer. ACR 113, introduced by Silicon Valley Democratic Assemblyman Even Low, was not available on the state's legislative database website by the deadline, but according to Lowe's office, it calls on the federal government to investigate DeSantis's unauthorized alien transport program, which flew 36 migrants from Texas to California last June.
I love that it got inverted. We're in the upside down.
I'm like, that we are in the upside down days. In good news, on Wednesday's broadcast of Good Morning America, Robin Roberts and her fiancée Amber Lane, who are set to marry in September, were celebrated at a bachelorette party thrown by Robin's colleagues and attended by some of their closest friends and family. The set of the ABC morning show was transformed into a tropical paradise for the occasion, complete with palm trees and a blue sky backdrop. Bravo, Good Morning America. I may have to start tuning in a little bit more because I want to support shows like that. In keeping up with the news for the battle on trans rights, North Carolina's legislature's Republican supermajority overrode the governor's vetoes to enact 3 bills targeting transgender youth. When Governor Cooper vetoed the 3 bills pertaining to the LGBTQ youth in early July, he accused GOP lawmakers of scheming for the next election by hurting vulnerable children and pushing political culture wars. So my heart goes out to the governor and the people of North Carolina, and at the same time, you Republican supermajority asshats.
You really
And
need to be
my
on
final
YouTube to see what he's doing. There's a reason for the pause in our conversation.
Yeah. If you are just listening podcast wise, yeah, maybe this one is worth a YouTube look. And my final story is a bonkers story. The International Chess Federation. They're all bonkers this week. I know. The International Chess Federation has banned trans competitors, citing differences between men's and women's physical endurance, in quotes, and hormone levels, also in quotes. Top officials have called for research into the issue, but the ban is likely to be in place for the next 2 years.
What?
I know, chess. Now, I've seen the musical. I know how competitive and weird this pastime slash sport slash whatever is, culture. But come on.
Yeah. What?
I know. Anyway,
someone's out there trying to be relevant.
Maybe. And I should point out also that the chess federations in several of the component countries, like Germany for sure, I think France and Switzerland also, all kind of did the, what are you talking about? This is insane. So though this happened at the federation's executive level, there is pushback within the organization. I'm still boggled.
I think Roz just rolled her eyes in the background.
That wraps up the headlines that I noticed that pertain to queer culture in media. I know there are hundreds more. Like I said, those are just the ones that caught me this week. What do you got, Bass?
You know, I think I'm getting to the point where you like scoop a lot of these things that I think I'm just going to be who is it? Robin to your what's the guy's name again? The big disc jockey. The hell's his name? Howard.
Oh, Stern.
Yeah, I'll be the Robin to your Howard Stern doing the queer news. I'll just sit here and comment and go, "Oh wow, okay."
I'm gonna have to be a little more.
Usually, I'm the one who babbles on, so it's kind of nice that you could sit there and I just go. I only have
a bit more animated.
I only have 2 things, and I promise I'll keep it short. But the first one is, and it only involves the queer community insofar as we're here with everybody else, which is kind of a statement for that any news can affect us. But anyways, we had Hurricane Hillary, 1L, coming through the subtropics up the coast to California, and it was started out as a category 4 or 2, 5, and then my husband's raising it and giving me numbers, and then as it gradually made its way to cooler waters and towards landfall, it then started decreasing. And by the time it hit San Diego, which is where it made landfall between Tijuana and San Diego, it got downgraded to a tropical storm. And everybody was getting, there was like no involvement from the communities around here at all. Nobody was paying attention to it. People were kind of like, it's going to get a little wet. They were kind of just brushing it all up until like, was it Thursday? No, it's probably Friday. And then you started seeing like solid news coverage locally on this whole thing. And then people kind of went, maybe there's something to this. And then as it progressively got closer and closer, they're like, oh, the winds are going to kick your ass, blah, 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 And I have to tell you guys the funniest damn story I've heard out of the whole thing. So my sister works as a pastry chef up at the Viejas Casino here on one of the Indian reservations. And she was, it's up in the hillside, up literally up, heading towards like the mountainous area in this part of the county. And there was some concern that the winds were going to be really, really bad up in that area. And that was like the big concern, was the winds more than the rain. All of the rain was going to be an issue. And so when she got to work on Saturday, and she goes to work at like 6 in the morning and works till like 2. So she's got a really early shift. So she got in there and she asked her boss, she said, hey, tomorrow's supposed to be really bad. What are we doing? What's the plan? She said, well, I don't really know what to do about it. Why don't you go talk to security? And my sister just looked at her like, are you fucking kidding me? That's your response? You had this many days when we knew this was coming, and your response is go talk to security? What the hell are they going to do? Are they going to come pick me up at work and drive me in? There was like, it was the most ridiculous answer.
You know what's going to happen? The tropical storm won't have an entrance badge, so security won't allow it in.
Yeah. But yeah, exactly. So my fear was, even when this whole thing started to come together, I was like, okay, people aren't really taking it seriously. And then they kind of went, oh, maybe there's something to it. And then they kind of freaked out and started boarding up shit and putting sandbags everywhere, and everybody was running to the beach and scooping up sand. And then it just kind of like got everybody sat on edge going, oh, is it coming? Is it coming? Is it coming? And then, by the time it got here, it just went.
I wonder if it hit you differently because you're on the coast, though, because I saw in Palm Springs this morning the mayor issued a nobody in or out warning because it's flooded.
Well, yeah, there were flash floods that were an issue, and the winds actually went to the higher elevations, so it just literally blew right over us. And I'm down in a valley. There's like there's kind of like it's not really mountains; they're more like rolling hills. Although I have a huge mountain here that we have right by our house, but there's just like only rolling valleys, and so it's that kind of terrain here. And so I kind of thought, well, if the winds come through, there's only one corridor where it could come through and really gust here. And it has. When we've had Santa Anas and things like that, we'll get those. But we didn't get anything. There was no wind whatsoever. You could have thought it was just a simple rainy day. The water level was not crazy, but up in the higher elevations, things hit a little harder. And then in the deserts, it was just disaster area, and I guess Las Vegas got hit eventually after us. My fear is that people will not take, because it was such a big deal of the first hurricane to come towards San Diego. That my fear is that, if the next one that hits, everybody's going to go, yeah, well, the last one didn't do shit. So, they're going to blow it off. And that'll be the one that hits us as a category 5. I mean, that's kind of what my fear is. It is my honorable mention of the week. Gavin Newsom got right in the thick of it. He didn't go gallivanting around and giving stump speeches at Iowa state fairs. He actually was in his fucking state doing his goddamn job. Ron, the sanctimonious, the sanctinous, the moron. You and your little white wellies need to get your ass back to your own state and govern the damn thing, even though everything you do is just all performative theater and not really governing. And everything that you go after ends up coming back and bashing the shit out of you in the court system. So, Go do your little gig in your own damn state so that the people of Florida actually think, oh, wow, he's actually here doing something, just the man is a fucking waste of goddamn flesh. He's a shit stain on humanity. Yeah, I said it. Come for me. Um, Gavin Newsom gets my honorable mention because he actually was here in San Diego. He was coordinating. They coordinated with the mayor of Tijuana, south of the border. So there were a lot of conversations going back and forth. Who's going to help who and when and how. So it was all very, very strategically planned out. They had beds and shelters ready to go. They went the whole 9 yards. And got it all set up. So, kudos to him for actually doing his damn job. Unlike most Republican
Nice.
governors who probably would go to Cabo, even though that's where it started to hit. But, they would be stupid and go to Mexico or something, just to get away
They'd go up
from
to Martha's Vineyard.
True. Yeah. Yeah. And they take a busload of, border crossers with them and say, here you go, whatever. So my honorable mention of the win of the week goes to Gavin Newsom. My win of the week goes to Fani Willis, because this girl ain't playing. She is not playing. And you know what I think is really fascinating? It is the Black community that is coming out in strong form, and strong Black women who are coming out and saying, no, sir, you are not going to play with me. We are going to do this by the book, and you will answer to this shit. Now, whether Tanya Chutkan actually will slap Trump with a, stay inside of a jail, I don't know. She certainly has the power to do it, and she has the reason to do it because she warned him very sternly how it was going to play. And if they think they're going to get their April 2026 date, they've got another thing coming. Chutkan is going to throw the fucking book at them. So I'm going to make some popcorn when that one goes down, and I'm going to sit back and watch these women rip this old, flabby, gaseous, Jabba the Hutt, wide-assed motherfucker and just slap his shit around. I'm ready for it. I am so ready for it. And if we don't do something drastic, like put this fucker in jail, then we're only inviting it to happen.
I will lose. Again. I know, and I will have lost all faith in the judicial system.
Yeah,
he is a criminal.
You hear that, John Roberts?
He needs to be treated. He needs to be treated like every other person under suspicion.
Yeah, which is exactly what these women are saying.
I know. Anything else?
So that was my win of the week. Fani Willis gets my my big old kudos, and go get him, girl. I'm right behind you.
Nice. My win came to me last night as I was looking through some strike material for the actor strike of all things. Annette Bening, who recently called right-wing efforts to stoke anti-trans bigotry for political gain heartbreaking. She told The Hollywood Reporter, they're trying to stir up all this fear in people about trans kids and parents, and they're trying to legislate that. This should not be scary to anybody else. It is a private, legitimate, complex, deep, spiritual, physical, psychological experience that has to be respected and honored. Thank you, Annette Bening. Thank you. It is
it's really sad when we have to state the obvious. The fuck,
right?
I think COVID collectively made everybody's brain go to fucking mush, and all civility in this country has evaporated. What are we teaching our kids with all of this? Because they're the ones who are going, what the fuck are you old people doing? They really, and they're the new voting bloc. So trust me, they're going to have a say in this. So parents, you better fucking start paying attention to your kids, because they're going to bitch slap you into next week.
Yep.
At the ballot box.
And they will pay for your elder care.
No, they won't. And trust me, someone who's approaching 60, you're going to need that shit. You're going to need that shit. So don't start no shit if you don't want no shit.
And
Donnie got Rico. He's been indicted
for this.
That's going to be my new theme song.
All right, folks. And probably better than mine, like I said.
Okay.
All right, Written on the Edge is produced by Rogue Ravens Media. For our disclaimers, links to social media, our listen stations, or to sign up as a guest, visit www.rotepodcast.com. If you enjoy learning about new artists or hearing our thoughts on entertainment and news media, please like and subscribe so you get the alerts for new episodes. Follow us on YouTube, and tune in next week for your queer media fix.
Rico Rama. I wonder if they'll let me do the Copacabana music if I put that in as the exit music. I wonder if Barry Menon will get after it. I'll just say, girl, we're gay. Stop it. I think I'm going to do it. Bye now.
Oh, what's that? Closing time. The bums rush in melody, dear.